So today guys, we're going to be talking about a build that a lot of you guys started asking me about in my last video when I talk about something you guys should be doing if you're farming those control points, heroic or challenging, because you guys can get a free exotic if you guys just do that tip, right? We were talking about the exotic holster and what you need to do so that way you guys can continue to craft it over and over. So we talked about it, but in that video I was using a build that is probably still one of my go-to builds for PvE when I am solo farming. This is probably one of the faster builds out there. Now, can you die? Yes, you just have to play with it with a fast-paced style. Go into cover if you start taking too much damage, but ideally you put out so much damage that the enemies just won't survive, as you guys are seeing in this gameplay. And that's what I try to do with a lot of my builds, because I want to be very effective with my builds and efficient with farming, right? Because the faster I can clear these control points, the faster I can get those field recon data, the faster I can level up my Shade Watch because you get XP there, and the faster I can just get gear, and then the faster I can hopefully get those exotic components to craft that exotic holster. So a lot of different things go into my mindset when creating a build or whenever I'm playing on the Division farming. So this is the build right here. This is probably one of my favorite builds still to this day. And what I did is, the great thing about this is you could mix match this a lot of different ways, but I've actually been running it this way. It's a little bit more on the edgy side, as you can die, but I feel like the damage is there and it's a lot of fun to use. So let's dive into the build. So first, we are running the Gunner class. The Gunner class is going to give us a lot of different things. I actually like it because it gives us that 10% armor on kill, so it stacks on the build itself. And then it also has the Banshee Pulse, which is actually a great way to complement this build because it disorients those enemies. Now, what I will tell you guys is, in a lot of my gameplay, I am running random skills. That's because I'm still leveling up my expertise. I think I have like 4 skills left. Once I finish those skills, then I will be going back to my skills that I use all the time, but I'm almost done with all the random skills that I didn't do. For the weapon, I am running the Vector SBR. You can see I actually got this up to 12 expertise, so I got an additional 12% weapon damage on here. We have SMG damage, critical chance, and damage to targets out of cover. Plus, look at this talent, Sadist. Deal 20% damage to bleeding enemies. After 4 kills, it applies bleed to the next enemy you hit. So I'm gonna always be getting that 20% weapon damage because all the enemies will be bleeding, and you'll see why in a second. And I don't even have to use the Stinger Hive. Now, I do have a crit chance mod on the scope. For the magazine, I have 20 rounds. For the underbarrel, I have critical chance. And then for the muzzle slot, I have critical chance. For my secondary, as you guys saw in the gameplay, I think I was running Merciless, but the Scorpio is going to be the best in slot for this build because it just does so much. I actually leveled mine up to 10% weapon damage and it hits even harder. So this is my backup, but ideally I'm running the Vector because I'm killing, moving, and with Sadist it just hits so hard. But yeah, the Scorpio is another great for those really tanky enemies, those bosses. Swap to the Scorpio and then just mow them down. So what build are we running? You might have guessed it, we are running the Hunter's Fury 4-piece. The reason why is because we get 15% shotgun damage and 50% SMG damage. But what really cool about this build is you get 20% armor on kill. You stack that with the Gunner class, that's 30% armor on kill. You get 100% health on kill, which is very cool. And then you have Apex Predator. Enemies within 15 meters receive a debuff, amplifying your damage to them by 20%. So that means I'm getting an additional 20% weapon damage towards them. Now look at this one, killing a debuff enemy with your weapon disorients other enemies within 5 meters. So that actually gives you a chance to reload, focus other enemies, and then it amplifies weapon damage by 5% for 10 seconds, stacking up to 5 times. So an additional 25% weapon damage. So a lot of damage you're getting from running the 4-piece Hunter's Fury. Probably one of the best green sets for SMG still to this day. Now we have armor on here, we have critical damage, and we have a critical hit damage mod. With the chest piece, we went with the Ridgeway Pride chest piece, and the reason why is it pairs up really good with that Sadist talent, right? Remember that 20% extra damage. We have weapon damage, critical chance, critical damage, and a critical hit damage mod, and then it has bleeding enemies. Shooting enemies within 15 meters applies bleed to the target. But what's cool about it also repairs you, so it repairs 3 to 48% of your armor per second for every enemy that is bleeding within 15 meters. So if you have 3 enemies and you hit them really quick, that's actually 12%, because look, 1 enemy is 3%, 2 enemies 6%, 3 enemies 12%, 4 enemies is 24%, and if you actually get 5 enemies, you're repairing 48% of your armor every second, which is amazing. So you can actually even use that Stinger Hive if you want. But yeah, I was just running around with it, and that's why I actually like it. Pairs up great with Sadist, causes that bleed, and lets me to keep moving. For the holster, we're running the Hunter's Fury holster, and this is going to be our second piece. We have armor, critical hit damage. For the knee pads, we're running our third piece of Hunter's Fury for weapon damage, critical hit damage. For the gloves, we are running another Hunter's Fury with armor, critical hit damage. And then for the backpack, we are running the SMG Sokolov backpack that gives us 10% SMG damage. We have weapon damage, critical chance, critical hit damage mod. But look at this, we put Wicked on there. So applying the status effect increases the total weapon damage by 18% for 20 seconds. So not only is the chest piece causing the bleed, I'm getting the extra 20% from Sadist, and then I'm also getting an additional 18% from Wicked. So a lot of damage coming from my talents, and all because of the chest piece, right? Because the chest piece is allowing me to cause that bleed, and that's why I run it. You can run this a lot of different ways. If you want to run Memento and you want to run different talents, you can do that, guys. Like you could swap out the exotics, you could move it around, you can run Intimidate, you can run Adrenaline, you can run a lot of different builds. This just one really works for me, and currently the one I've been using for those heroics for farming because it's fast, efficient, and really easy to use. Now, if you go down here, we are running the Banshee Pulse. What's cool about this is it applies Disorient status effect to all affected areas. So it gives you that chance to like really push the enemy and kill them. It's a great talent for PvE. Now it has 15% radius, 15% effect duration because that's what you get from the gunner class. And then look, I paired up with the decoy drone. So it's really up to you. Whatever talents you want, highly recommend the Banshee and the decoy. Right now, I actually, like I said, I have 4 skills left, so I haven't really been playing with these too much. But once I finish those 4 skills, this is exactly what I'll be running and how I run it. So if we go to the weapon stats, you'll see I have 58% crit chance, 150% crit damage, 70% headshot damage. Then we have that 10% damage to targets out of cover. And then if we go over and we look at the armor on kill, you'll see we're sitting at almost 1.3 million armor, 386,000 armor on kill, which is a big chunk of armor on kill that we get, right? So that's why this build works very good. So if you guys have any questions on it, how to run this build, this is how I've been running it to farm those level 4 heroic control points. So if you guys have any questions, hey, let me know. This has been my go-to for farming in the Division 2 currently. So when I like doing those control points solo, this is the go-to build for me. I guess we'll wrap it up here. Appreciate the support, appreciate the love. See you in the next one. Hey, Nothing But Skills out.